다지 추천지를 선하지 조라든지 소산지 초단초기 전함아 전조관들이 다지 추천지를 선하지 조라든지 산지 초단초기 전함아 전조관들이 다지 추천지를 선하지 조라든지 산지 조보를 소 다야타 가데 파라송한테 어디 소하 다야타 가데 파라송 소하 다야타 가데 파라가데 파라송 어디 소하 심지어 탐지에도 도달하나 맞고 산지에 고발은 거 진행이 도가자 대주도에는 전주선 별나들은 수신 양수를 나올래 신고를 두고 주제쇼 만나와 가지고도 한 가지 보더라면 주된 얘기 삼삼체.
And so we set our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment by perfecting all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. And to perfect those trainings, I need to have a good understanding of them. And to gain that good understanding, I need to be able to rely upon an unmistaken presentation. And so it is with this in mind that I am here this morning to listen to a talk on the Graduated Path to Enlightenment series of teachings.
남주는 내신체는 소신세다 다간체체 길어 그서다 너무 돈도 상체 안에는 가서다 도셔라는 가서다 남리치래 주를 남한테 더 찾는 거죠 남리치래 주한테는 예당 유연들하는 자체 삼보다주 자체 주기도 삼보다주 그러면 되겠지 아니 샤르탄 가서다 그저 남아이다 산제서 바오 걸리 추정 송마선 다간제 지금 어디에 지금 규대식을 하소다 되게 계산 산제 동다 다들라 소베 다간제 바오 걸리 추정 송마선 다 마상 오면 맞지 요성서 어디로 고마시.
So we begin as usual by setting up our visualization of the merit field in the space in front, beginning with the central figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara, and then behind, beginning with the lineage lamas from the consecrated practices lineage, which is headed by Vajradhara, and then to the left and right we have the lineages of the profound view, headed by Manjushri, and the lineage of extensive practices headed by Maitreya, and including all the main gurus from those particular traditions. And then also on each side then the representations of the Kadampa lineages, and then the Gerupa lineage headed of course in the center by Lama Tsongkhapa. In the front, just to the front of the central figure, we have our own root guru, surrounded by all those gurus from whom we have received teachings, as well as then the Anuttara Yoga or highest yoga tantric deities, and then the Yoga, Kriya and Charya and Kriya tantric deities, and they are followed then by all the Buddhas, the groupings of Buddhas like the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon, and then all of the hearers, solitary realizers, bodhisattvas, and then arhats, and then the dakas and dakinis and dharma protectors, so that finally we have this certainty that all the members of the merit field in the space in front have been established.
어느 랑게 타고도 랑게 진짜는 막 세대 파만에 집엔 진짜 마진가 심지 담자 마상와면고 유 삼삼체 어디죠.
And similarly in the space all around ourselves we visualize all sentient beings, and that beginning by those with whom we have a connection, who we can recognize, such as our parents, relatives, friends, and so on, and then spreading out so that it includes this concept of all kind mother sentient beings. For example, visualizing our parents of this life, and then imagining our parents of previous life, and the parents of a previous life to that, and a previous life to that, and a previous life to that, going back to beginning this time, and then establishing the sense of all sentient beings.
미디어가 동아리 때 동아 직접 니두고 막 용되겠지. 근데 라나 고군의 손되겠지. 어때요? 저 공부시 아니 그래서 어때 공부시 어때
And then we have the sense that all those sentient beings too are like us in the sense that they really want a happiness but are bereft of the happiness that they so desire, and they really don't want any suffering, but they are inundated by one suffering after another that they do not desire. And so we have that kind of sense of empathy with the sentient beings all around us.
그래. 다 가자다 개치슈되다 동네르데 동네기티 동네데 미도바다 동네기 중고천의 방사체 대화 되베 대화데 대화기 주 모처베던 시베톤에 아니 대외 주 죽답지에서 줄라 뭔가 인상 아니 대부도 연구 요마르와 아니 딜레텐다 데데가 그래서 대외 줄라 몽네 좀 맞도봐 동네 줄라 몽네 동네 쭉 대화 인상 미도시데 동네 용대지 오다 딜레텐다 니지게 동네 딜라 무스베 니지게 아니 딜레 탄투게 다 델레 타네는 대화 중 중간념에 다 잡아고 어디서
And so that we consider in relation to the sentient beings all around us that it's really the ignorance or confusion with regard to the causes that really creates the issues around their lack of happiness and their being really inundated by suffering. And so it's a case of, if they are confused or ignorant with regard to the causes, they're no wonder they don't experience the results of virtuous causes leading to happiness, and they can't avoid the non-virtuous results such as suffering leading from non-virtuous causes. And so it's really that compassion, understanding the depth of the suffering. It's not just the manifest pain that we're focused on, but also going behind what's the cause of that. And so it's with that understanding that we develop this sense of being unable to bear the suffering, indeed the ignorance with regard to the causes of that suffering that all sentient beings are undergoing. And so this brings forth this tremendous feeling of compassion on our part. And that they may all be able to abide in happiness is the development of love towards them. And so this desire, how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could be separated from suffering and indeed the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could meet with happiness and indeed the causes of happiness. And that we're really reflecting on how or what I can do in order to bring that about. And that is to really bring our mind again to focus on the merit field, and it's really to really become reach the state of the enlightened beings in the merit field, the state of Buddhahood, that I can bring this about. And so with that we have this tremendous sense of faith with regard to the visualization of the merit field.
지제 추수 줘야 디나네 아니 배 산제 고마토에 줄로 줘야 봐. 가리 제바이네 디줄로 줘야. 저 가리 중화이네 디줄로 줘야지. 왔다 근데 고마시네 왔다 가지 디제다 다 그렇지도 다 가지 지금 람을 다 산제 고마토발라 지금 대배 산제 다다외 산제 마오바 산제와 주바 대다게 람기 람부체 잡아 됐다. 네, 자주 람거리 맞 차대도 아니 자주 람거리 또 맞지만 타마도 개발치기 인습서 같은 거 대체는 자주 람거리 맞다 지금이 인습서 같은 거
And then to kind of really refine our motivation for this teaching is to kind of understand that we really need to ensure that not just for all sentient beings but for ourselves to try to guarantee that everything that we do, all our actions and indeed reactions should be establishing the causes to attain that state of enlightenment, to further our journey towards the state of enlightenment. And that in order to do that, really, it's we're in no better hands than to be studying this graduated path series of teachings, because it is the same subject matter that all the Buddhas of the three times, of the past, present and future, have studied, are studying, will study in order to attain that state of enlightenment.
지금 연대시 카드라서 다들 람조 타고 야나 지금 연대시 좀 와서 때데 때는 삼로단의 신이 때문에 마체전 뭐다 고마시 어디서 좋아 어디서 신이 때문에 때는 아니 가서도 때전이가 지원이다 올라서 어디서 봐 고마시 어디서
And so then to reach this point as well, when we have the time to really bring to mind the subject matter of this level or this stage of the graduated path teachings that we have covered, and such as how to correctly relate to a spiritual teacher, and that to really try to bring our mind to bear on that through perhaps the recitation of the certain prayers that have been composed that deal with covering the stages of the path, such as the three principal paths, or the foundation of all qualities, and the hundreds of deities of the land of joy, and that that will really give us a reminder, a glance meditation on how to relate to a spiritual teacher, for example, the attainment of a precious human rebirth, of favorable conditions and endowments, and the death and the impermanence in the form of death, etc.
지원이면 남친이네 집에서 출근만도 출근만도 가야미보다 치자도 매번 적으면서 개와시는 다 개와 년조대 때도 뉴스 예와에서 다른 게 지당 단다게 들라 지당을 때와 있는 년조를 개면도 왜 매티겠지 와다 되네 타와지 맞은 타버도서 들라 타와는 가서도 좋다 가서도 다 잠도 들라 타와 들라 잡두가 되는 사제 잡도 뭐 출잡고 기도 잡도 다 좋잖아요. 들라때는 다 같이 미기 주는 거 수준 소리에 어떤데지 아니 날게 사샤바티게 되다 거기 사샤바티게 되는 다다 사샤바티게 되는 야 뒤구이 버인사 뒤야 저거 밑으로 친구이 버인사 아니 뒤 아니부터 시고는 샤통지에 어떻게 다다가 아니부터 시고는 샤통지에 거도 레터 어떻게
And that with regard to death, we have those three main points with regard to the meditation on death, how death is definite, how the time of death is indefinite, and that at the time of death it's only our spiritual practice that will be of any benefit to us. And that after death, of course, it's not simply that we disappear, but we take on another rebirth, and that's really dependent upon the karmic imprints that ripen at that time of death. So we either take a fortunate rebirth or a lower rebirth, and that we can at least have the certainty of having attained the former in this life, a fortunate rebirth as a human being. But of course there's no guarantee with regard to that, and that we must do something within this time as a human being to avoid the possibility of taking on a lower rebirth again in the future. And so that brings us to the subject matter of refuge and taking refuge. And we take refuge in the Buddha as the one who shows us the path. We take refuge in Dharma as the actual refuge, and we take refuge in the Sangha as those who exemplify the path and accompany us on the path. And that within the process of going for refuge and taking on the precepts of refuge, we also take on the ethical conduct of refraining from the 10 non-virtues, the basic level of ethical conduct. And that here we are aware of having engaged in many negativities in the past that are already on our mind stream, and so that we need to do something about that as well. And so that in order to avoid those negative imprints ripening into harsh suffering for us. And so this brings us to the subject of the purification, confession and purification. So this is where we arrived at this topic last week, and so this is where we will continue now.
지난 출루 건강게 아니 잡스 잠조스데 그게 길레고 요봐 이나 다 남배 잠조들라 잠나 구조 숨스 샤기도와 다 잡문에도 소리에서는 최군자들 산게데 잡도 봐버려 최대 잡무에체 문에 코라 잡 무엇을 잡는데 최대게 잡고 요래 아니 진전데 잡주베 다 도와체 다 되게 안디야 아니 그러다 때에 아니 그래서 지지 라고도 세마자 랑게 냠는 것 때문에 대신 게 있고 랑도 근데 랑게 냠는 것 때문에 대신 게 고도 어때 근데 이번엔자 아니 산제 코라야 당보 알아서는 래 당보 같이 아니 래 당보 같이 아니 되네 아니 지 가서다 간자체 가서도 다 간자체 동해기 중어촌에 아니 뒤 님보 다음에 또 배시랍 겁네 아니 산게 상계네 아니데 냠는 것 때문에 아니 나라주라다 랑도 내땡겠지 어때 지금 어때 인자 근데서 그 지가서도 안데 라지가 탐내죠 현지가 지가 탐내죠 꿀라 투지시고 이름이 오죠 펜타마다 탐제도 어때 지금 거기도 와 어때 다 문에도 소리서 최스근데 근데 지라 스그르서 다들 동행가 자와 단지 말이보다 대인님보다 담에 또 배시라 인바 인자 다음에 무엇도 또배 셔랍디 다 초구종원에 되지 차대요. 다디 남신다 깨봐나 아니 단지 머리 밖에 두고요마. 단지 머리 밖에 마도 와서 아니 뒤에 온게 레사 뭐 용어요. 레사만 뒤에 온게 동해 용한테 용투요 말이. 어디 초구종원에 되지. 아니 긴도군 줘서 근데 뒤 귤라 때문에 간사. 다음에 것도 때문에 셔랍 귤라 때문에 간사들라. 아니 긴도군 줘서 어디 셔. 뒤 가라도 미베다사 다 도와지.
And so that we could say really that all the main spiritual traditions have a sense of going for refuge, a sense of there being a refuge within their own body of teachings. Within the Buddhist tradition, we have identified the triple gem of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha as a reliable source of refuge in order to attain the result that we wish for. And within this, we have recognized also that even though the Buddha is the one who demonstrates or shows us the path, or shows us refuge, it is the Dharma that is the actual refuge. And that here it's also very much encouraged to understand that the Buddha, in demonstrating this, is speaking from personal experience. It's not just that he's decided to pontificate on some subject, but that the Buddha, remember, wasn't always an enlightened being. In fact, he began the path exactly like we are, as rank beginners, and that proceeded to recognize suffering, and then recognize the causes behind the suffering, and then recognize that there was a root cause, and developed the wisdom that was able to act as the perfect antidote to that root cause, and ultimately attain the state of enlightenment. And so it's from all of that experience that the Buddha speaks. And so with that, in that regard, the Buddha is speaking from his own experience. And we have some of the defining characteristics of an enlightened being is that they are freed from the fear of any suffering with regard to themselves. They are expert in being able to free others from their suffering and to advise them. They act with an unbiased sense of compassion towards all sentient beings, and they wish to benefit all others, regardless of whether they get anything out of it themselves. And so that these are very noble qualities to have. And so the Buddha acts as the one who still demonstrates the sense of refuge, but the Dharma is the actual refuge. And it's saying really that in the same way as the Buddha recognized that, we must recognize that it is the Dharma which kind of reveals that the ignorance of grasping at a self-entity is the root cause of cyclic existence, the root cause of suffering. And it is the Dharma that is able to inform us that it's the wisdom of selflessness that acts as that ideal antidote to that root cause. And so in this way we can indeed attain that sense of suffering or liberation, to get beyond suffering through the actual cause, or the actual Dharma, or actual refuge I should say, which is the Dharma itself, the Dharma jewel. And it's any being who has the actual Dharma jewel in their mind stream, any person who is in fact the actual Sangha jewel, those who accompany us, those who exemplify the path. And it's that sense of having the true paths and true cessations on the mind stream that makes for what's called the Arya Sangha, or the Sangha jewel.
다 되게 돈이 것은 또 셔라 줄라 된바이나 아니 자와 이미 계좌 요말 아니 이미 계좌 요말 미게도 수인이 바이네 아니 자주 삼바 차대요 와 자주 삼바 자 고다 고다 긴두구저 차대요 긴두구저 차대요 긴두구저 차대요 다디 임바이사 긴두구저 운에다 다 되네 돈이 것은 또 셔라 줄라 되게 가자 긴두구저 다디 나랑 저거다 가서다 동에 주다 제와 된두게 아니 냠내 지금 다 조조소어디 들어가다 밑에다서 들어가 되면서 기두고 줘서도 뭐저다 타바다 탐지 좀 주변에 조차대요 봐 어떻게
And that one should point out that therefore because of this, that it is not the robes that indicate whether a person is the Sangha jewel or not. It's whether that person has the true cessations and true paths on their mind stream. And so this means that any lay person, male or female, it doesn't matter, that if they have developed this realization of emptiness and have that on their mind stream, that makes for them representing the true Sangha jewel. And that in that sense too, when we talk about the Sangha jewel being the ones who accompany or assist us on the path, it's really referring not to the person but to that realization on the mind stream, that is the realization of emptiness for us. Generation of that on our mind stream is that which will really assist us on the path.
산제게 최대네 로다 최대네 아니 디가소데다 간자 지가 최대네 안디 냠서 나와라 되네 다디 돈이 것은 또 가서 최군저 중 로체네 최군저 중 최군저데 냠서 나한테 그랬다 안 기디군저 차 기디군저 요거다 최대 안디 냠서 나한테 기디군저 요거도 왔다 다 제도게 잡아이나 아니 최군저 냠서 나네 라기디군저 차 아니 긴두군저 차도도 아니 되나 사 딱저 사당분이야 사 긴두군저 차도도 아니 라사당보와 차도래 토람게 사당분에 아니 사주 냠서 나와라 되네 라산제 콤바토도 아니 제도가 산제 군저 차버와 산제 군저 차버와 호텔 다 제가 먼저 잡수 줘야 돼. 라 제도가 산제 군조 차에 쳐도 잡수 줘버리고 산제를 틀에 깨월래 쳐도 말이야. 라 산제 차에 쳐도 다 대마침 붙여와 있나 봐.
And so that we have to understand as well that when we go for refuge, the really implicit understanding we should have is that we intend to emulate those to whom we are going for refuge, and that is to attain the state of the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel as the triple gem of refuge. So we can look on it in terms of being a causal refuge, and that is it goes in this order. Like you go for refuge to the Buddha as the one who demonstrates, and then you practice the Dharma jewel, and then you get the Sangha jewel to assist and accompany you on the path. But when you talk about a resultant refuge, it's really this. You need to engage in the on the path to attain the state of the Sangha jewel primarily, and that would be simultaneous with actually establishing the Dharma jewel on your mind stream, because here we're talking about that direct realization of emptiness, whereby you have then established the Dharma jewel, the resultant Dharma jewel on your mind stream, and you simultaneously also establish the resultant Sangha jewel as you have because that realization is on your mind stream. And so then you are on the first ground, the Bodhisattva ground, and it's in your practice through the Bodhisattva grounds that you can achieve the resultant Buddha jewel, which is actually the state of enlightenment. And so it takes a slightly different order when you are viewing the process of refuge from resultant refuge point of view.
아니 산제가 고마 마도나 탑메디죠. 산제 고마 토바나 뒤제 감다 메와 삼바 발냐와 지다와시 ken거 요바인사 아니 둘레미 요와치네 펜도 제투고 요래. 어든지 둘레미 뒤줄레 둘레미 요와선다 그뒤 펜도 전에 약수 이미 딱다 제투면지 둘레미 요와치네 딱 펜도 제 뒤줄 봐서는 아니 요가 매버치네 뒤줄 딱딱 펜도 제투고 딱 먼저 레 당보 그때 펜도 하고 싶으지래 다 살아 타고 되고 자주 삼아 산에게 자주 삼아서 아니 편도 갈아간섬 제두고 요라 이나 산제는 시 제두고 요 말이야 내 당보 왔다 편도 제 문에 다네게 저기 편도 제도 하고 싶지.
And so that it's really for the benefit of all sentient beings then when we illuminate the bodhisattva motivation. It's for the benefit of all sentient beings that we must attain the state of Buddhahood, of enlightenment, because it's only from that point of view, that understanding really, that enlightened viewpoint, that one has an ascertainment of everything necessary in order to provide maximum and most skillful benefit. The different personalities of sentient beings, the different dispositions of sentient beings, their karmic situation, and indeed timing, having the right timing to engage in that particular benefit. And so when we think about it in all of these different ways, we can see that even from the point of view of a bodhisattva engaging in benefit, which is of course really vast and wonderful, but it is nothing compared to what an enlightened being, a Buddha, can do. And so it's even more so when we compare the capacity of an enlightened actions towards ours as beginners. We can see how difficult it is as a beginner to really engage in quality, perfect virtue and benefit towards others.
그래서 펜토스도 아니 지금 그래서 녀모 주다 잡을 펜 단지 다 녀모보다 단지다 된지 바자다 제바 아니 빠이라 펜도 요그 고고도 펜도 운에 펜도 제도에 그 내가 펜도 삼마이 맞잖아 주다 잡을 펜도 저 아니 대외 주다 잡을 좀 도와라 펜도 제도 맞지 왔다 둘레미요 왔지 왔다 되지 산제는 시 수간 제도에 매번에서 왔다 산제 고마 주에도 왔다 개츠부 차단도 왔다 되지 어떤 뒤에도 딱간제 주초 다들 임바인사 아니 랑기 가리 제와 있네 배나 지금 칼라사와 있네 고마자와 있네 다 가르치고 요번에 시행도 저와저 되게 산제 고마도 외쳐도 배나 동해지 좋아 임바인나야 동해디 아니 지금 동해디 산제 고마도 외주로 줘도 외쳐 대화지 좋아 있네 대야 산제 줄을 줘도 외쳐 가르쳐봐는 우다와 대야 산제 줄을 줘도 외쳐 어 줘도 외쳐 다 뒤 제발라 아니 딱 그 잡아대 니지가 있어 봐 고고도 와
and that and also when it comes to this kind of perfect benefit, being able to engage in perfect benefit. You see, it cannot in any way be tainted by a mental affliction, by the self-grasping at a self-entity, etc. And it's not something that, now and again, it's not temporary. And again, the timing and all has to be unmistaken, and one must be undeceptive in what one is doing. And so we can see how there's a great deal of progress that must be made to be able to reach that state of being able to engage in such high quality benefit. And so it stands to reason, therefore, that we should try to inculcate that motivation to attain the state of enlightenment in everything that we do, when we are eating food, when we are walking to and fro, and we do it all for the benefit of, in order to attain enlightenment for the benefit of others. Even the suffering that we undergo, we should be able to really, transform that into a cause to attain the state of enlightenment, and the happiness that we experience, again, to make sure that's dedicated towards the state of enlightenment. When we are in spending money, we can make sure that we have a motivation to use that to create a cause for the attainment of enlightenment. And you can see how then that the inclusion of and the permeation of love and compassion in all of these projected activities is essential in order to make sure that that motivation is correct.
rangi udaye yanjene sanje kumal pe sanje kumal gyulo chotuechi ta wadene ta kari jewa ine sanje kumal gyulo chotuechi wadene jiga rangi komshila chatueti.
So it's really a case of making this creation of the causes for enlightenment so ubiquitous that even our breathing, we are mindful that it is creating a cause for the attainment of enlightenment.
다른 얘기를 내가 오는 게 보고 전에 개봐요. 다 들은 게 편도 지에게 나라 딱 가서 구급자라고 어디다 들었잖아. 근데 편도 지에. 아니 다른 디 편도 저도 마음 버는 게 최고 편도 제 좀. 다른 게디 편도 제가 제 마음 버 심지어 탐자를 편도 제도 유를 좋아졌어. 근데 배는 사자 바로 임바네 자 저보다 좀 봐라 임바 파도로 빠지게 제. 진짜 맞은 심지어 다 다른 게 레그 온게 아니 근데 저보고 대화잖아요. 사상의 대화잖아요. 요거는 걔들 편도 제도 갈 구급지래. 다 단다 편도 제 마음 벌었어. 이게 최고 편도 제도 보쇼. 다른 이게 지금 심지어 탐자를 되는 시 편도 제도 보쇼. 어제 내가 삼로 돈을 제와이나 아니 그 지금 잡아든 인제 심배자. 아니 산제 고마 토백이 아니 줄어도 되게 차리도 와.
And so, for example, this would play out. For example, if we have in relation to a child, if we have a child and we are very concerned, of course, about that child's health, how that child will be educated, the food that we offer that child, and so on. But we could move away from the natural notion of thinking, oh, this is my child, and with a sense of clinging or attachment that's involved there, and to really just see it in terms of the karmic opportunity that is being offered me, that here in this particular configuration I am the parent and this is the child, my child, and that I have this tremendous opportunity to be of tremendous benefit and to have a really positive influence on this child's life, and that to see it in that sense and to kind of like slightly objectify it, so that you say I'm offering these material gains or needs now. In the future, may I be able to offer the gift of Dharma to this child. Not only that, may in the future, through the cause of my being able to benefit in this way, in the future may I be able to offer the gift of Dharma to all sentient beings. And in this way, you are expanding your motivation to become a cause for enlightenment. And so this can be equally applied to the friends we have, our partners, indeed anybody. And that say true to true to the power of karma. I have met this person. We have this kind of connection, and that to then extrapolate out that whatever benefit is happening between us I use that, may it be a cause to being able to offer the gift of Dharma in the future, and to be able to offer the gift of Dharma to all sentient beings, and imbue my motivation and my subsequent actions always with as much love and as much compassion as I possibly can.
What are the Chivain and Narazu and Yiri Kasota, Chiki Kelams and meaningful chatting to meaningful. That the man, yeah, Kabu, yes, Sasa, there's some Tonajavainata, Yabuta Chigola, the Koyakuma, the Shushu Chamadua. What Taba the Tamjaki Killer dot with it, not some local tone, and Kajukudua.
And so it's really that sense of being able to refine the direction of our thinking in this way that can make for a much more meaningful life, isn't it? Because it's when we develop this kind of expansion of motivation that into a habitual sense, that we can really make our life so much more meaningful, as opposed to now, like really just thinking, oh, this is my lover, this is my partner, this is my friend, blah blah, and having this casual, almost unthinking, but benign attitude towards these particular individuals. But when you imbue each interaction with that love and compassion that you can see, and to really refine the actions that one engages in with that motivation that creates the causes for liberation and enlightenment, that you can see how much more meaningful then all those relationships can become.
And they got the time check Maria. So the Yamlin in some Chagu, Tang Chair, the man, Kazan Tang Checker, Tango the upside, and Kazan the Tang Checker.
And that there will be no tiredness in these relationships. Then there's no kind of off days, or that it's not you're going from the high excitement when you first met to being completely bored or exhausted later on. That when you are engaging in such a high level of motivation in all your actions, you create it that much more meaningful in all these actions, and there's no sense of exhaustion that arises in that way.
Also, some Namdo shifted and shot on American Channel, Janata, same years ago the inside Chella, and Dilla Pemba to read the topic, you will love to Sato chatting it one. She was changeable at one. And then that the Simja Tamje to Sanjay Guma to Cheto Jet to the Sanjay Julo Rodrigo, she was such a motor. The ticket was on what to it on it. But Dilatena Sanjay Guma Togure, Dilatena Sanjay Guma, Dilatena Togure, some of the children, same name which I did one. Sweet by name.
And so it's really to create a sense of whoever we happen to be with as being incredibly kind, to offer such great potential to that moment for us. That in this way there is no sense of our ever getting tired or too casual in those relationships, because it's often the case when you spend a long time with somebody, you kind of like you become invisible to each other, isn't it? And that this is a case of constantly reminding us that this other person is a kind, sentient being, and that the idea of being able to be beneficial to them is my prerogative, and really it's important that moment is seized in a way, and to create the causes to gain that state of enlightenment at all times. And so to have that as our continuous focus in our relationships with others is not only going to create the causes to attain enlightenment for ourselves, but it also brings us closer to all those individuals.
What did the 어딘데 제제는 다 간제 제와이나 아니 소소게 냠도 대로디 다 부고이네 자 사장이네 소이 냠도 되게 소소 추로차 되기도 추로다 추주베 투녀차 되기도 어느 야고 주로
And so that then whoever it is that we are with, our children, our friends, our partners, our lovers, that they become our Dharma friends. That's the overriding label that we can have on them. They are really our Dharma friends.
되면은 지금 녀몽게 지금 마기 왔지 아니 냠도는 대고는 마가 왔지 대대도 아니 녀몽게 좋아차네 녀몽게 규차네 오늘 전에 다 잡아라.
So how if it's not like that, then how easily it can become something rather different, isn't it? That we spend all that time with this person, and that they only serve to really increase our mental afflictions, and that instead of a Dharma friend, they become like, you know, the mental affliction friend. And in the context of the Dharma perspective, that's really no more than an enemy.
Yeah, 어디 개치 버려. 어디 개치 버려. 근데 아니 조선 땅와이네 그 땅상 만나서 찾대도.现说对吧매번现在조선 땅 간장스는 막기 왔지. 아니 근데 마도 가가 찾용 되기도. 그렇다. 배는 찾아봐야 최고 삼로콘 아니 들라 조선 땅와이네 강에 매되기. 오, 이게 최초고요 삼사 정도로 와. 그러나 사상이나 가보이나 다가 저 조선 제일 열 왔다. 되면은 간sam서 놈네 다 아니 제 땅나 땅국으로 와. 얘네다 막기베 돈나 땅데나 강해지도 와. 그러와. 다디서 그 오늘 페버 주고요 삼사. 정다 쳐보 주고요 삼사 제어도 그 강해 매되겠지. 그 집에 차 되기도 와.
And so in terms of the kind of financial expense that might be involved in having relationships like this, from the point of view of really holding the bodhicitta motivation such that everything I want to do is going to be motivated by that desire to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then if there's some expense involved in that, and there's no big deal in there, we see that actually it's an amazingly powerful purpose for which I am spending here, and so it's easy to be able to spend the money, to part with the money in that instance. Whereas if it's not, if you're not in that sort of situation, but you know, by hanging around with such a person is costing you a lot of money, well then you know you're going to have regrets maybe about having to, you know, being out of pocket, and maybe some resentment for why this particular relationship is costing you so much.
어떤 저는 뭐 기본 차트들 어디를 저들 어떤 딱 간제 개치셔도 지금 가서라다 저 추가 삼로도 아니 저 잠바든 인제 요바다 아니 산제 고마 주베 근데 망보질 삼로 아니 진짜 막한테 망보질 삼로 땅데도 되는 돈다 쳐보지 주고요. 근데 선제 탐제가 되어서就是고조서的랑게 티나 고조야 뭐 들으셔 봐 좀 도와. 랑게 티 랑게 제토바도 랑게 티라 요겐데. 아니 되네 쟤는 타요 막게 선제 탐제 제토비 규도 사고 도와.
So it's extremely important to bring this kind of these Dharma thoughts to mind on a kind of constant basis, really, to do everything we can to feed our love and our compassion and this notion of the kindness of sentient beings. And that, you know, this also to recognize that it's all very nice to have this general sense of working to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, like it's some amorphous concept of all sentient beings. But we must continuously remind ourselves that all sentient beings actually begin with the ones to whom we are closest, the ones who we associate with on a daily basis. And that this is where the work really starts and ends, really. And that it's there we need to constantly refine our motivation and engage in actual actions that affirm that motivation.
먼저 빌레 지그로 다 빌레 켈레 지그로 산제도 자주서 심지어 탐제도 산제 고마 주군에서 켈레 지원도 아니 소소 칠레 이거들 야고 제토바이나 아니 산제 뒤주사래 고마 자기로 되는 소소 칠레 이거라 다리 저 녀몽게 마기와체 심지어 탐제도 된 주군에서 산제 군들 산제의 전주선배 군들 플레이 제백할 켈렌 제백할 다들 다가 세고 요래 두근데 말에 공부 차기로 와. 그봐. 틀려 이거 딱딱 소소 제도가 딱딱 제바 있나? 아니 섬제 탐제 산제 공부 두근에서 켈렌 제바 니바 요러 봐. 산제 전주선배 질랍 연구래. 뒤쪽도서래. 그런 게 제도가 딱딱 제도도 있고. 쪽도서라서 아니 지금 코나주가 질랍 연구로 와.
And so that, when we make these prayers constantly to, do whatever we do to attain a state of enlightenment and to benefit all sentient beings, and that this is a kind of a commitment, isn't it, that we have. And so it's really only in the enactment of that commitment and in the keeping of that commitment that we are able to engage in actions that are fulfilling that particular motivation, that we can imagine the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, seeing that and seeing our baby steps, as it were, but being genuine about maintaining that commitment, and that they are affirmed in what they have taught, and they approve of what we're doing, and indeed we gain the blessing of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Whereas if you have the opposite sense of the person being very fervent in their prayers, of praying really hard to attain a state of enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings, but subsequently really not doing anything to imbue their motivations or actions with that motivation, you can see then that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas looking on will see that this person is all talk and no action, and they are not practicing what they preach, and so they're sort of deceptive being. And so, they're saying that even what they're capable of doing now, they're not doing. And so how can we expect them to be able to do what they're not able to do in the future?
lakwa nyapsa dela ane lakwa nyapsa dela changma ma so wacha ganga changma so ge yesana so to marwa tan so lakwa tira yuge da changma so.
So it's like saying you're not able to even clean what's within arm's reach now. So how can you clean the whole house if you can't even clean what's right next to you? So that speaks to the ability and the efficiency, the skill with which we are able to turn our mind inwards to really see how conscientious and how genuine we are in our actions. So therefore it says too that there are things we can do, and so but we should be very conscientious to do what we can do, and to imbue those actions with that enlightened motivation. That's very, very important, to create that sense of discipline and consistency in what we can do, and then to think of what we can't do, and make powerful aspirational prayers. May I be able to do something far more powerful and effective and beneficial in the future. So it's kind of like, we want to be careful not to kind of make our aspirational prayers to attain a future life as a human being, to meet with the Buddha's teachings, to have Dharma friends, to engage in good practice and so on. But at the same time, in this life, when we've already met with the Dharma and met with qualified teachers, but not engage in spiritual practice, it kind of doesn't kind of add up, does it?
So 어디로 차도 다 내가 내가 삼로 단전 당 소소 몰람 자여다 소소 지혜니데 차투고도 추구면도 뭐라 어디가 그가 삼로 단은 강투도게 안 미지 졸라 뭐도 지혜티
So that means that we need to reflect on our thinking and to see to what extent it coincides with or conforms with the Dharma thinking, and not to kind of waste our lives.
어디자 다 단다 된 거죠 다 톱시 카도다 다 톱시데 로다 톱시데 다 가자 다 디고저 사사소나 다 사사소나 네 제부 연구요 제부 연구인데 다 가자 저기 연구요 이내야 다디 바자라는 거죠 님부 톱시거는 상통 제바이나 아니 제부 자원의 만용의 차요 야 제부 지금 가서 유럽 연구는 제가 뒤지 통도 나라 다 줘야 되는데 연구를 딱 나서 준 거로 다도 디바 샤겐기 아니 간사티 디바 샤예기 아니 냠네 뿌이탁려 라 라리로 어떻게 돼.
And so this topic of the purification of negativities is in recognition of the fact that we have already accumulated negativities that will arise in suffering. They will ripen into suffering if something isn't done about it. And this is then the practice of the confession and purification of negativities. And said that depending on how effectively we engage in this practice, we can assure that we don't have to experience the negative causes of those negativities, or that we don't have to experience the negative results for a long time, or that we don't have to experience those negative results as extensively as otherwise.
다가 저 당보대 그 톱시는 당보대 아니 교sem제대 교sem제는 다가 저 랑게 네바사와데 다 레몬도서 노샤 서서 페나 저 나라조 저 통다를 노제네 아니 도지 통샤와이나 디 도이마 하고서는 다 껴보 딜 답배사수서는 도데 다가 저마 네바 매버서도 지기로 와 지기로 오다 디는 신체는 다가 저 교sem제는 다가 저 레몬도서 교sem제는 아니 데 다가 저 로다 교sem제는 다 가자 다답 지금 로다 가자 어디를
And so the first port of call for any confession and purification practice is to really develop a sense of regret. And this is a full recognition of how incorrect I have been in my actions, how negative those actions are, and to really get the sense of having really taken poison, ingested poison, and that is something that you really have to get out. You have to find some antidote to negate the poisonous or the deadly influence of that poison, so that it doesn't pass through your whole system.
다들 가서는 내가 교sem 개발라 근데 녀바 딜라든 제부 동네 근데 정도 다 거기 개체 버도 왔디 아 먹어 봐이나 아니 그 교sem 개스라 연구 말와 다 로와 다 가자 저 왔다 딜라 되네 다 되네 디바 사바 딜라 되네 제부 미두바 동네 숙청 보지 연구 여바다 규다 제부 조탄 양보 심바이나 아니 교sem 개 중으로
And so, in order for one's regret to really go deep and to be effective, it must be accompanied with a recognition of what the possible negative consequences are going to be of the negativities that I have on my mind stream. And this, of course, leads to an understanding of the law of cause and effect, the concordance between cause and effect or result.
어디를 전다 간제 어디 하고서는 엘리시네 왔다 제바들 레몬도 삼삼전에 다 간제 교바께 요거를 뒤면은 교바께만에 교바 숙청보시게 두고 말와 교바 숙청보시게 두고 말와 어디는 다 되게 되데도 다 되네 다 마오발에 되데 지금에 동세들이 쉬게 좀 찾아요 동세들이 개좀 아니 다 디과 싸워 다 해줘 아니 뭐 그도 주면 톱세트 아니 뒤에도 다 빼나 지금 소소게 가서다 지금 다다데 사제가 수답로에다 다간이 생게 지 가서데 아니 지금 돈이 거미에다 다간이 생게 지 가서 다다데 이제 사야로서 다 개와 근데 제가 있네 아니 다해체도 제대로 로 산제 구상와라서 막 어떤 데잖아 어째
And that and so it's with that knowledge then of the law of cause and effect that leads to a more effective regret, and regret that will lead to us being far more likely to do something about it, and to do something about it quickly. The second most important of the four opponent powers, or these powers of confession and purification, is the final one, and that is the promise, the determination really, not to engage in these negativities again in the future. And that here we make a strong promise or vow to the best of our capacity to avoid engaging in negativities again in the future. And so these are like the kind of like the beginning and end of our purification practice. And in between then we engage in the opponent power of applying all of the antidotes. And these are the actual practices that we can engage in that will effectively purify the negativities on our mind stream. And in brief, they include any virtue that you might engage in. And there are often those that are offered are to engage in the study and reading of the Buddhist teachings, to recite certain sutras, to meditate on emptiness, to recite the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra, and so on. So it's said that often said that the most effective of the antidotes is to meditate on emptiness. Since, of course, it is the meditation on emptiness that directly deals with the very root cause of suffering, and that ignorance of grasping at a self-entity.
아니 다들 땡그 될다 잠주다 심제 로다 간지 디바사사가 유들라 야나는 산제라 된 디바사가 야나는 심제라 된 디바사 그래 또 데니를 된 디바사 유디 니소 니야디 소 차기도 되네 이거다 잠 레다 산제라 된 디바사와데 아니 가서 잠주체는 다도야다 아니 심제라 디바사에 돼 닌제 겁네 다도야 주 어때도 어때죠 심제
And that then the fourth of these opponent powers is often referred to as the power of the basis, and that this refers to the Buddhas and the sentient beings, because it's towards Buddhas and sentient beings that we actually engage in negativity. And so here we're really requesting their assistance in our purification process. And we do that by going for refuge to the Buddhas, and by generating a compassion and the mind of enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. And so that when we talk about the purification, for example, of the three vows, where we have engaged in infractions of the three vows, such as the pratimoksha vows, there we purify, we confess and purify in the presence of the Sangha. And that the bodhisattva vows we purify in the presence of bodhisattvas, and Buddhas and bodhisattvas, and that in purifying the tantric infractions or faults of those vows, we purify in the presence of the deities of the mandala. What's very, very important at the conclusion of every session of purification is to have the certainty that it has been effective, that we have actually purified our negativities.
sabda 다 디바 뇨도 저거 요바 인사 그 뒤에 디바 다에 탑을 줘야지. 남는 그때 저번에 디바 샵에 탑을 줘야지.
However, one conclusion that one should never come to at the end of a session of purification is that that's fine. I don't have to do any more. I've got rid of my negativities and I can stop my purification career right here. No, you need to continuously purify. And even though you're certain that it's being a very effective practice, you still need to continuously purify because you're forever accumulating like in a drip effect of negativities anyway on your mind stream. And it's very, very good to imbue every virtuous action that we do with the notion that it's also effectively purifying my negativity.
Lagdo pele shoge ni sene ya langye de en diring ni mate digba dae che de pechu tanich so digba dae che do so pele ta ka digba dae che do dan o de che ka digba dae che do ta ka yi samsa che do de che.
And so it's very good to remind ourselves of that. The first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is that, you know, the moment we become conscious that we're saying, okay, today is my purification day. I'm going to dedicate everything I do today to purification.
어디를 디바다에서 어디를 다가자 굴론지다 담아다죠 습제담제 산제 공부다 더 지다 디바다에서 들어보다 디바다에서 와다 디가 삼로 디가 심바체네 로 어디를
And so of course this is imbued in our motivation, isn't it, to as our normal motivation to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, but it's really just reminding ourselves that an absolutely essential part to fulfilling that motivation is to continuously purify my negativities.
두개 나가다 라마이다 산야져서 바오 컨트롤 아니 조조스로 쳐나 고소도 슈퍼 산도 왔다 소셜 셋업 아니 대다가 두가래 웨세트는 라라게 시간에 아니 저 20번 고스 젠자는 엔디라 소셜 대다 참자가 지금 소소서 다 대다 탐자는 다 저거 조조 산제 자주 서 탐자다 뭐 있어서 왔다 와 소셜 대다 저 문에 봐 있어서 대다게 안 쟁아라서 제게 틱도 그랬다 나제가다 나사시베 디바디가데 코나라 아 도스와다 교선제 진짜 솔라지데 미체베 아니 동세 닌타반데 제고레스 제데스
And that then the means of actually engaging in this practice in terms of a session of practice of confession and purification using the four opponent powers would start with the cleaning of our house or place of practice, dusting and wiping and cleaning, and then setting up a representation of the Buddha's body, speech and mind. And that until we have this real certainty that the triple gem are actually there, the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha are really present and witnessing what I'm about to do. Not only that, but we can elaborate on that to establish the whole merit field of the gurus, the meditational deities, the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Dakas and Dakinis, and the Dharma protectors, the whole collection of merit field, and feel that they are actually present, not just in a kind of a two-dimensional visualization, but it's a really three-dimensional active kind of merit field, and that they are there waiting for what you're about to do. And that in their presence then we have this sense of, the first thing, as was mentioned, to develop this powerful sense of regret, as if one has ingested poison in one's system and one has to get rid of it, has to get it out. And then
pugu mewa soa tende chenyo na o tende tikwa saja tende tikwa sa ene semjera nyoba karja tika 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 treba chene 어때 사셔서 제바체 아니 경험만 하게 되겠다 근데 사요 되게 다 디제이도 되게 맞다 다 디번 여와도 사요 코아디다 내 잡아서 디번 마사 도담도 와 어때 아니 그래다 가서 창단을 놓겠는데 창단을 놓겠는 딩예 딩예 타이스 야와 제도 아니 안고 딜라테네 아니 레니바 나서 싸우고 와 오다 되게 사셔다 세딜라 근데 진짜 되게 제바체 아니 사람만 하고 사바 되게다 근데 사이로 똑바로 말이 써서 어떻게 되잖아. 되게 전 다 되게 두 코너 치고는 진짜 다 되게 제본 년반 년도 다 쳐버려. 되게 이번 때다 작동 맞아 타면 또 없어. 아니 계속전에는 작동 제도 어떻게 다 진짜 되게 자원이 지금 했어서 동생제 어떻게
And so that regret that we generate too, it's not something that's a kind of a general sense, just lumping all our negativities in one large kind of notion of regret, but that we kind of become as particular as we can to really isolate particular negativities that I actually remember engaging in, whether acts of body, speech or mind, and that even those we don't recall, we can't recall, we have to be realistic and assume that due to my prevalence in generating attachment on the one side to friends and aversion on the other side to people I don't like, the enemy, that definitely I've engaged in negative actions as a consequence of that, and not just in this life. And I know that since I've been in cyclic existence, it's inevitable that I've been involved in countless negativities. Just the very fact of being a resident of cyclic existence, that's part and parcel of being here. And so that means I've so much negativity that I can recall, but a vast treasure that I can't even bring to mind. But definitely these negativities, if I don't do something about them, the result is definite. These will result in harsh suffering for me, and so that's the way you should develop your sense of regret. It's not something that's distant from one, but you feel it very personally, and so you have that sense of deep regret, and then also coupled with that at this point, this sense of the mind of restraint, of saying, okay, along with this regret, I'm never going to engage in negativity again as much as I can, even at the risk of life. You've got to really up the ante, as it were.
아니 론주세 아니 세위네 중화다지 아니 돕시 시작한다 아니 산저 숨주 송하다 때마다 아니 도버숨 소수 시작한다 게 빛이 쉬바 소다다 장센다 아니 상하 도버소수 시작동지다 나시 아니 라마도센다 도지서 먹고 되지네 어디되지 도도나 아니 잠도 셈제 라 때바니 대기 돕체 나지게 디발을 교선 잡고 제반노 순집에 돕다 디발 가서 사바 가리네 근데 지금 구마자와 이네다 아니 로임 제와 이네다 아니 다가네 생게 지금 가서 밀에 장생 샤와 이네다 고고 땅와 이마다 다 소소 점마 뭐 보여 봐. 다 밀에 샤마도네 소소 셈을 점마도 다디 논주 신자 디 논주 신자서 다 다네서도 자원이네 지금에서 다 딩에 샤도 맞아봐는 디 제고 니바 징그레 갈라 밑에 둥에 용그레 어디를 전 다까지 샤도 제지 어디를 너는 잠도 셈제라 때문에 땡기 돕자 나제게 디발을 교선 잡고 잡아는 순집에 돕자 아니 뭐 구두 집에 도대서 못도 맞자 아니 디베 코송 미미 받다 왔다 디베 코송다 디바 사긴 소소 아니 디바 안다 샤라 내가 잡아 가리나 되게 그가 유대는 막 똑바 받다 잡으리 소소 어디에 삼다에 어제 돈이 그래서 디베 코송 미미 봐서 돈이 사물라 때마다 돈이 거기 도지sembe 컴대 이제 때와 아니 송하다다 지금 산자의 장세가 송하 때마다 아니 최대 샤바 아니 초발 때마다 산자의 장세라 아니 다 기본하서로 초바 피해 다가니야 녀로를 집바다야 강에 이거라 집바다야 아니 산자의 장세가 제 개발제 조반 남 인제
And then if we when we have the time to engage in the practice more extensively, we can in terms of the purification aspect of the four opponent powers, we can engage in the recitation of the Golden Light Sutra, or do the practice of the 35 Buddhas, and the purification of the three different sets of vows, and engage in the general purification prayer, which begins O Guru Vajradhara, or O Guru Vajra Holder, and in brief, where it talks about the power of the basis. It's about, like as was previously mentioned, going for refuge and generating bodhicitta, and that the power of repudiation and is centered on this really comprehensive and deep sense of regret for the negativities that we have already accumulated. And then the power of applying all the antidotes that was mentioned earlier as well, that this is any virtue that we mentioned, and here it's the reading of or recitation of the profound sutras, or as we said, the most effective is this meditation on profound emptiness, which takes into account the three-sphere emptylessness meditation, which is basically that the one engaging in the negativity itself, and indeed the result of that negativity, or the one to whom that negativity is being done, are all empty of objective existence and merely imputed by thought, and that, and then also, and then reciting profound sutras, and the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva, the creation of Buddha statues and the erecting of stupas, the making of offerings, and the recitation of particular names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and all of these activities can count as that aspect of purification called the applying of all antidotes. And that yes, and indeed also when it comes to the power of regret, to really go through, like for example, the 10 non-virtues that we may have engaged in, such as stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, etc., all those kind of obvious negativities that we may have engaged in, and as before, to extend that to the potential negativities that we certainly have engaged in as well.
처지도 돈 되게다는 도와면서 디와가 처지도 돈 나사는 타면도 소와도 니부터 없이거나 강도도 샤동지 어디든지 다 니도 참여자 마고바제 냐베는 다 참여자 마고바지기 배주지기 선은 동생 망도 잡아니 냐발에 라토가 도빈선 냐발에 라토바 마고바지기 그거나 다 뺏사샤 삼사전에 다 마고바 답지기 삼사 어디든지 아니 야네야도 동생 된고래 송토하고 어디든지
And that, to be again to emphasize that yes, there are those negativities that we will certainly recall and that we can remember, but there are vast many more that we certainly don't remember, but to be absolutely sure that they are as imprints on our mind stream for sure, and that they will ripen into suffering results unless we do something about it. And that the fourth of the and final of the opponent powers is the power of refraining from misdeeds that we touched on earlier. That is the restraint. And here it's very necessary to kind of bring to mind kind of a commitment to not allow ourselves to be tainted by negativity or downfall in any sense from here on in, and make many resolutions to really deepen that, to really kind of really as they say, be the change that we wish to see in ourselves.
시에디 개체버도 내가 임바디 내가 임바 시에디 개체버 아니 델라데네 이제 지중 마제게다 도세 요에다 아니 배주 제중으로 와 진짜 안 다가 이제 내가 중앙에 교선 깨봐이나 교선 깨는데 딱딱 말해 뒤 노트리에 섬서 씹어져나 뒤가 중앙요래 그디 노트 주고 요바이네 다 가야 맞아 가시 쪼신 원에 제대로 디바 빼도 없지 뭐 용되고 요와 두고 또 없지 뭐 용되고 요래
So it's you know the notion of this being developing resolutions again and again to bring forth a sense of restraint, control in our mind is extremely important, and that you know because it enhances our mindfulness around our actions. Because one of the principal means by which we incur fault and negativity is just pure inattention. That we're not really that mindful enough to what we're saying and doing, and so this is a practical means. I say more mindfulness keeps us in mind of our actions, and therefore we are able to edit out those which might lead to negativity and so on. And likewise, with regard to regret, you know, the purpose behind regret is to have this, not just to recall all the negativities that we have done, but more so to really see how just plain mistaken I was in engaging in that kind of action, that it was an error of judgment on my part, and to kind of really establish that as one's you know, as a kind of a cautionary understanding around negativity, because all too often we have caught ourselves not regretting our negativity, but actually rejoicing in it, and really getting off on engaging in negativity. And so this is the counterforce to that.
So that the image and the Benang of the Tetarilla and the Dunga, the Kangama, which chair where you would have been named as a last of what that Kangama was a Kangaka Chela, Tapsi Chena, and to be to me, you to it and your man saw the teacher. And Kabe, man, son, a pemato, Karchena pemato, Mongucho. That is what debate the way you may answer, and what do be on doing a Tapsi medical. So they got up and not touch on it. Dunga condition and it debate the way you want to touch over it. In a that can't of the dos metal dozo with the mamma debate around it, debate whatever. I can't get debate in a yon dig yore. The tatuna that debate which had that debate which had yore. What did it check?
So, like, we can all recall in this life, you know, continuously having to put up with various sufferings that have occurred. Sickness, disease, or any sort of inconvenience, and that we need to always trace that to negativities. These are negativities, the very negativities that we're talking about here. These are now having ripened on my mind stream, may become manifest, and that and sometimes, you know, even with sickness and so on, we take medicine. The medicine is not effective. It doesn't deal with the sickness, and that. We have to understand that, you know, the negativity is ripened until the kind of energy of that negativity has been exhausted. One will continuously experience the effects of that sickness, and that you know, indeed, cooperative conditions are very much part of it, of course. But the main cause, the substantial cause, is the negativity that we have accumulated in the past, now ripening as this sickness. And indeed, we can always even talk about the cooperative conditions about being, you know, inclement weather and so on. That indeed, this is you know, an environmental result of negativity that we have accumulated as well.
What did you want to do? What you want to do? What is that? In that dinner, she do a mutu, Saran, Chima Pija, Saran, Moyo, and Chima Pija, Dunga, Narsava, the Shatom Chia, Chisel, Dunga Moyo, and a good to be. What did chatted? What did it?
And so, the Shatom Che, Sarah Therapy.
What a time up in the Sarah, that was the Shatom, the Chima Pija, Dunga Moyo, to the Chigior. But said that Shimagoa, or Kaburi, because the Juchata to Zarwa. That Chima Pija, Shimagoa, the oil on to a yore. Shimagoa, because Dilla Keg, Lenuga Keg, led the Meva Chasona, and she had a Yugumarwa. She had Yugumarwa, Shimagoa, the Yon to a chair, Chihuahua to a Yon. That are the ones who saw the Taji, and there's a Chima Pejala to Mayo at that. 아니 사도 동에 주마사야 사샤바데는 닥닥치에 그리고 어때 안 다다 동에 지어야 치마 표제 동에 뭐에 줄을 줘도에 right 줄을 줘도에 어디다 되게 그래서
And so that that to keep in mind too that in this life there's not a lot of we can do about causes that have already ripened and that are presently being played out in our mind stream and in our life. But we're looking to purify negativities on our mind stream in order to benefit our future lives, and to go from life to life with a lighter mind stream where we have less and less negativity, to reach the point where we don't have to experience death again and again, as we have dealt with the principal cause that brings about the contaminated life or rebirth, and that inevitably leads to a death thereafter. And so here we have a kind of a far-reaching goal in mind as well in the negativities that we are purifying.
다 수바 주도 지다 자와 수능 가신 어서 다 가지 레다 어디든지 아니 다 초신 대단에 아니 뒤지 밥자지네 뒤바 다수 삼삼지에다 오다 어디든지 아니 어디든지 아니 어디든지.
So then it has the third aspect, which is what is done at the conclusion of a session of practice like this, and is saying this is like it was, as has been explained before. And again, as saying in this context here, since we were always doing these meditations in the presence of the merit field, and so here the merit field is kind of showing the approval of the practice that we are doing. We are very conscientious and genuine in our regret and our purification, and so they send forward the 5 colored nectar lights, the purifying nectar lights from the merit field, and streaming down through our body, mind, and really.
란다 타고도 유베 심제 탐 저게 아니 집어는 막 뒤지시는 토마메바 디바다 디바지다. 그러다 어디를 어디 다소자다. 지워 엄가불에 좀 아니 엄가불에 라제 심제 탐제를 맞죠. 저 류코나 세고 디바다 다 줬어. 아니 아마불에 아니 나고나 사베 디바다 다 줬어. 홍원불에 좀 아니 이코나 사베 디바다 다 줬어. 아니 소환이래 왜세 트베 아니 룽아 예수게 사베 디바 바자다 제마가 마자수스 마 되지수 삼사원들 고마시.
And we can visualize this as these nectar lights coming from the enlightened beings of the merit field into the crowns of myself and all the kind mother sentient beings that we're visualizing all around, and so that with the initial permeation of the purifying light through all our body mind system, that we have a white syllable Om at the crown, which is symbolizing all of the physical negativities being purified, and that the red A at the throat, symbolizing all of the verbal negativities that we have engaged in, and the blue Hung at the heart, all of the mental negativities that we have engaged in, that they're all being purified. And we can do that in turn, so that we're concentrating on the physical negativities being purified, visualizing the Om at the crown very clearly, and then the verbal, and then the mental, and then we can do general purification altogether after that as well, with the light streaming through our body mind. And that all the negativities that we have accumulated since beginning this time, plus their imprints, plus their traces, that they are all being completely purified. And to try and visualize this as kind of like a very powerful beaming light, which is entering in through the crown, like focused and centered down through the crowns of ourselves and all sentient beings all around us, and really pulsating through our body mind, so reaching every cell and pore of our body, so that all negativities of body, speech and mind, as well as their imprints, they cannot abide in our body mind system, that they are completely eradicated from our reality. I have this sense of really being completely cleaned out, pure, clean afterwards. And that to complete that particular visualization, it's very good that we visualize that all of these negativities and obscurations since the beginning of time, as well as their imprints, are leaving our bodies and all the bodies of all the mother sentient beings all around us, and going down, and that the ground opens up below us, and below that we see the figure of Yama, the Lord of Death, with a mouth wide open underneath, and that all of the negativities pour into the mouth of Yama, and he swallows all of them, and really has a sense of deep satisfaction in being able to consume all of our negativities. And then the mouth closes, and then it is sealed, that mouth, with a double dorje, and then the ground closes over again as well. And then the dissolution of the merit field, whereby all of the lineage lamas of the consecrated practice lineage absorb into the head figure of Vajradhara at the top, and then all of the lamas associated with to the left and right of the main figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara, beginning with the lamas surrounding Lama Tsongkhapa, absorbing into Lama Tsongkhapa, and then the Lama Tsongkhapas both absorbing into the different lineages, schools of the Kadampa lineages, the scriptural and the graduated path, and the instructional lineages, and they in turn absorbing into the gurus of the profound view and extensive practices, and all those different gurus and teachers absorbing into the figures of Manjushri and Maitreya respectively. And then in the front, starting from the Dharma protectors at the bottom, absorbing into the Dakinis and Dakas and so on, all the way up to our own root guru, and as well as all of the teachers surrounding our root guru, and they all absorb into our own root guru, so that the last remaining figures of the merit field are five, being Vajradhara, Manjushri, Maitreya, our own root guru, and the central figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara. And use our placement meditation to keep our mind on that. And then the dissolution continues with the figure of Vajradhara absorbing into the crown of the central figure, and then both Maitreya and Manjushri absorbing into the central figure, and finally our own Guru absorbing into the heart of the central figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara. And that we visualize or focus on the last remaining figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara as the embodiment of all Buddhas. And then we do the special supplication prayer from the miraculous book of the Gelugpas. My most divine Guru, Lord of the Four Kayas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of unimpeded Dharmakaya, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of blissful Sambhogakaya, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of sundry Nirmanakayas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, embodiment of all Gurus, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, embodiment of all deities, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. And my most divine Guru, embodiment of all Buddhas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, embodiment of all Dharma, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, embodiment of all Sangha, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, embodiment of all Dakas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. And my most divine Guru, embodiment of all Dharma Palas, Dharma protectors, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. And my most divine Guru, embodiment of all refuge, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara.
What is Jamna Puzutan, what Sundip, what did it, and then and it took us the Yala to Medeta Chava, and then Rangajo Pema than you made data to an Jenta, no matter Jenta, Padizala, Tajo, Kuzu, Tabicos, Nivacos, Subacos, Deduction, Sanjay Kumato, so Gao.
And then we can make the seven-limbed practice offering and the making offering of a mandala. And from there we make the invocation verse for the last remaining figure of Guru Manindra Vajradhara to come to the lotus and moon seat that we have prepared on our crown. O glorious and precious root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my crown. Keep me safe in your kindness and bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech and mind. And the Buddha comes and to rest at our crown, and that we have this joyful feeling that the Buddha will remain on our crown there with us, accompanying us until we attain enlightenment. And so again, then we establish a lotus sun and moon seat at our own heart, and that having offered again a mandala and seven-limb practice to the Guru on our crown, we again make the invocation again just three times. With the first time, O glorious and precious root Guru, come take a lotus and moon seat placed here at my heart. Keep me safe in your kindness. Bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech and mind. That it begins that journey for our Guru down through our crown, through our central channel, and that with the second recitation of that invocation verse, that Guru arrives at our prepared seat at our heart, and with the third recitation we have that certainty that the Buddha will remain steadfast there until we attain enlightenment.
남준이 내다는 신내 안에 되는 도지 체가 있더라지 안들어서 다가저 양색 어머 이유를 이용하면서 어머 그가 저저 뭐 연을 하고 그래서 어머 예다마시도 저다가 가는 거 샤만에 소이 된된 가디게 되고 거진 원데도 요되겠지 아니 나는 왜서저랑 게 지금 간디가 봐도 왜서저네 다가저 지금
And so then the petals of the lotus fold over the figure of our Guru at our heart center, and that this is then sealed by a semi-dorje, and then further is surrounded by the mantras of the Sanskrit vowels going in a clockwise direction, the Sanskrit consonants in an anti-clockwise direction around, and finally the mantra of dependent arising in a clockwise direction. And from that, then, this sets off the streaming of light rays from within and through the petals, and that they permeate all of our bodies, all the cells of our body mind.
아니 되네 왜서 랑게 주원에 간디가 봐도 왜서 저와 되네 되네 아니 랑게 다 가서 가서 지금 가서다 지금 중식ခွ많이 봤다 아니 지금 자 롱 튀려라서 자 아니 제발 냐발라서 롱다 되게 아니ခွ많이 발라서 봤다 가자 지금 아니 튀려라서 되게 냐발라서 되게 가서 주네 근데 체직 산재의 공부 토발라 아니 지 가서다 개개 용서자 튕게 용서 청네
And that we can visualize that the action, medicinal action of all of this light streaming through our body mind has the effect of balancing all the four elemental elements of our body. It is also setting to right anything that is imbalanced in our winds, our channels, and our drops. And that it's really adjusting our body-mind situation towards righting any imbalances or incorrectness in the configurations of our body-mind, and balancing everything perfectly to be able to attain the state of enlightenment in one lifetime. So all obstacles are eradicated and all conducive conditions are established. Again, we think this is wonderful, this is really wonderful, I rejoice. It's like we have, received a precious jewel that is enabling us to attain the state of enlightenment in one lifetime.
And
then through the combination of our own most subtle wind acting as the substantial cause, together with the body of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions. Our own body is established as the body of a Buddha. And then through the combination of our own most subtle mind acting as the substantial cause, together with the mind of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, our own mind is transformed into the enlightened mind of a Buddha. And that the place that we are in is transformed into the Buddha realm of Shakyamuni Buddha. Then we experience this sense of bliss which transforms into emptiness, and we abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness. And rejoice to say today is the day I've attained that state of enlightenment, now capable of benefiting all sentient beings. I completely rejoice. And so then, viewing ourselves as a fully enlightened Buddha, and from our heart center as a fully enlightened being, we send forth countless rays of light, equal in number to all the sentient beings in existence, and they enter into the crowns of all those sentient beings, relieving them of all negativities and obscurations, and they're establishing them as enlightened beings in their own right. And all of the places in which they abide, their abodes, transform into light and transform into Buddha realms. I have been able to establish all sentient beings in enlightenment. This is fulfilling my goal of attaining enlightenment. How wonderful this is today. This is something really to rejoice in. From that arises bliss, and from that bliss arises emptiness, and then we abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. I know I'm just establishing this now through the power of my thinking, my imagination, but I make a powerful dedication that it may quickly become actually manifest. And so then it said that following the conclusion, what to do at the conclusion of that session, and then it talks about the next outline of what to do between sessions when we are actually engaging in the purification of negativity like this. And here it's saying that we should really choose to read the texts and the commentaries that deal with the subject matter that is in common with the being of elementary capacity, and that again I'm saying, but especially where the subject matter dealing with the purification of negativities. So now we ourselves are between sessions, so let's have some tea and lunch.
That lovely balance still.
So we do our Lam Rim prayer. Page 29. From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed from working with effort to this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in loving compassion for all lives my justly. May I find the best of complete way in the paths of the teachings. May I please all the Buddhas while I practice.
Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I
clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. The points of the paths I have discerned them. May I hold Buddha's teachings for a long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by even this great path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their practices from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones. May oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.